September of '84, we harvested in '84 yet, and luckily my son was helping us, so we did get the harvest complete, and we did get the harvest out.
The road to foreclosure began at the export markets. In the late 70s, worldwide demand for grain was strong and prices were high. Many farmers borrowed money to buy land and equipment, but foreign competition and the 1980 grain embargo cut deeply into exports. A surplus piled up and farm prices dropped. Hank was left paying back the David City Bank for land that was now worth half what he bought it for. The bank was left with loans farmers suddenly couldn't repay. It was one of the first banks closed because of the farm crisis. In Nebraska, a total of 31 banks have failed in the 80s, almost as many as during the Depression. This time, deposits were protected by the FDIC, and so the assets and good loans of the David City Bank were quickly sold to another. The bad loans were left with the FDIC to collect.
I have a term loan there with FDIC now that I cannot pay off totally. So therefore, no lending institution will pick me up. FDIC wants me to pay it off. And we sit here just not knowing which direction to turn right now.
From September of '84 to May of '86, we weren't allowed to keep 1 penny that came off the farm. And the only thing kept us going, my wife and kids, was we had the auction business.
Good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to have you at the sale here today for Ben Burish. Appreciate having you. Come and see us again sometime when we're lucky enough to have one, would you?
It has been my last harvest. My son is now harvesting, and he has since 1985. I guess what I'm doing now is helping him during planting time and during harvest time. But it has been my last harvest. When we were with FDIC, I got a part-time job, and my salary was $3.35 an hour. And at that time, I had 8 kids, and my wife and I at home. There was 10 of us.
You feel beat down, and our cupboards were pretty bare, I'll tell you, during that time. So it was a tough time, and I think I aged a lot during those 80s, and they were not fun. I think maybe what helped me was I was able to talk about it. They had a couple farm meetings that they invited me to speak at, to tell them what happened. And so I was able to talk, and a lot of these people weren't. And they kind of kept it clammed up. And you know, after a while you keep it clammed up, that chest gets pretty full. And I know a lot of them, there's a couple, 3 of them now that have passed on, that are no longer here. And one of them was not any older than I was at the time, but I think a lot of stress and different factors entered into it that, you know, just made it really tough. You know, and the day the bank closed, just to give you an example, the day the bank closed, I needed gas in the pickup. So I drove to one of the C-stores here in town and never thought nothing about it, and I put gas in the pickup. So I went in to pay for it, and I was writing a check. And he told me, he said, Hank, he said, I just got to tell you, he said, I can't take that check. And I says, well, why not? And he says, well, you know, that bank closed this afternoon. And so I had the gas in the vehicle, and he kind of looked and smiled at me, and he said, you know what? I know you. You'll be back. Just go home. And I did. And don't think that isn't a lonely feeling. I didn't have any cash in my pocketbook, you know, so I was going to write a check. And that was the thing that I think just brought me to saying, holy cow, we are in trouble, you know. And if it wouldn't have been for some of the nice people, thank God we live in a small community. We live in a small community, and people would still help you out. You know, it wasn't like I didn't dare go to, you know, some of the big towns and do business there. They wouldn't have done that. You know, I don't know what they'd have done, but they wouldn't have done that. So that helped us out. That really helped us out.